Hello and welcome into Sports from the Couch on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and we are joining you with some breaking news. Addison Russell, starting shortstop for the Chicago Cubs, has been put on administrative leave by Major League Baseball. This just coming after his ex-wife last night put a WordPress out describing domestic violence and mental and emotional abuse. We'll get to all that in just 1 second. Let's get into what baseball said first, so that way it's the most recent news right before first pitch of Cubs White Sox in the middle of this playoff push. Major League Baseball takes all allegations of domestic violence seriously. When the allegations against Addison Russell became public on June 7, 2017, the Commissioner's Office Department of Investigations immediately commenced an investigation. Melissa Russell declined to participate in the investigation at that time. Our investigation of this matter has remained open, and we have continued our efforts to gather information. With the new details revealed in today's blog post by Ms. Russell, Mr. Russell has been placed on administrative leave in accordance with the joint MLB-PA domestic violence policy. We are hopeful that this new information will allow us to complete the investigation as promptly as possible. This stemming from what Melissa posted. I'm going to read a little passage of that really fast. The first time I was physically mistreated by my spouse, I was in shock. I couldn't wrap my head around what just happened. Why did he get so angry? What did I do for him to put hands on me? Of course, I forgave him and assumed it would never happen again. I just thought he had let his emotions get the best of him. He loves me, and he's sorry. I was deeply hurt that he could even be capable of this behavior towards me. I couldn't understand how the man I was in love with, the father of my child, the man I married just a few months ago, could show so much aggression towards me. I simply couldn't wrap my head around it. It tore me apart. As much as I tried to pretend it never happened, I noticed myself avoiding making him angry in any way in fear of it happening again. I saw darkness in him. I've never seen or experienced in him or anyone else. Slowly but surely, I realized the man I grew to love in so much has becoming more and more of a stranger to me. Every day that went by. Emotional and verbal abuse started way before I even realized it. Eventually, it started to be an everyday thing, being blamed for just about anything that went wrong. Name-calling, intimidating me with personal force, manipulating me to think I was the problem, destroying my personal things, threatening to send me and our son home to my parents as if I was privileged to be living there in our home. It gets more heartbreaking. I don't want to take a lot of your time, guys, so let's just get into some of the stuff that I wanted to hit on. Theo Epstein and Tom Ricketts actually just had a press conference before as we were recording this, and like they said, he's been put on administrative leave. It's up to 7 days. They have told the ball club. Theo Epstein even mentioned, they asked what kind of man they thought Addison Russell is, and he brings it up. He's like, in a baseball context, it's one thing, but you don't know the person out there. And this is what I want to get into. First, I want to address the fans. One, please do not victim shame. In most cases of domestic violence and domestic abuse and sexual assault, it takes the victim a little while, and it's their right to, because it's an emotional trauma, it's a physical trauma, to sometimes come up with it, to have the courage, to have the will to do it, to be in a good enough place because you're so mentally destroyed too, okay? So first of all, if you're victim shaming, please check yourself, all right? Leave yourself out. Don't show your true colors. Then I want to get into a little bit of why we're at this point. So if you remember last year, a Instagram post went off of a friend of Melissa's accusing Addison of this exact thing. But because that was a third party, the investigation really couldn't move forward, especially with Melissa not wanting to talk. Well, now this is a first-hand account of it. And now it has to be taken seriously. And it doesn't matter whether it was a year later, 2 years later. It doesn't matter. This society has to get over the fact that we put a timetable of when a victim could say something. It's ridiculous. And I've heard prominent people talk about it, whether it's in the comedy world, the sports world, the entertainment world. It doesn't matter. That you're destroying a man's career. You're doing this, you're doing that. You destroyed somebody's life. And if these allegations are true, if they are true, you did this in front of a child, your son. And this is a man who's known for going around town. You know, there's a lot of rumors about him having a lot of children. It's out there. Google it. It's not something that's a secret. And this isn't the first case of this. You know, a great question was brought up. How does a talent like Addison Russell become available like the Oakland Athletics thought? It was because he was getting into trouble. He's always been getting into trouble. The fact that he was a solid shortstop got him a lot of leeway. That to me is unbelievable. MLB Major League Baseball got the Cubs out of this mess. They give them the biggest handout ever just now because they didn't force the Cubs to make this decision. Major League Baseball did. And, Theo Epstein's a great talker. Unabashedly, I'm a Cub fan. I am. You guys know this. If you guys see the live stream, you guys see my gear. You guys saw me throughout all the playoffs. Season ticket holder. Problem is, I also understand that Theo's a great talker. He's a great spin artist. Yeah, these provisions were set up so that everybody gets their due justice. No. This was provided so that the Cubs don't have to take a brunt of the, are you or are you not going to suspend them? Major League Baseball bailed them out. Period. And just so everybody's clear, this investigation never went away. People are thinking, why are you bringing this back up? Why are you doing this to them again? It never went away. It was always there. Then it comes into what's worth it. It's interesting because I hear a lot of people saying, well, the only reason you're kicking him is because he's down. He's a bad player, so it's easy to pick on him now. It doesn't matter. We should live in a society where it doesn't matter your stature of it. If you're physically hurting somebody, if you're emotionally hurting somebody, it should not matter what your stance is, what your batting average is, what your bank account is, what the color of your skin is, your gender. It should not matter. How is this considered a PC take? It should be common sense. And then you have some fans wondering it's just coincidental that it's happening, during a playoff push. And what, does she need money? Again, first of all, you need to take baseball out of this. Addison Russell sucks to begin with. Addison Russell has had the most hype out of almost any player on this rebuild and has delivered the least. And it's funny because he has this little, the way he walks around, he's not like Wilson Contreras or Javi, right, where he's very showy. He almost has this timid look to him, right? But listen to this account. That man, at the very least, even if only 20% of it is true, that man has some dark secrets inside of him. Is it worth it to have him on your ball club? Take out of the fact, and I said take out of baseball of it. But if you want to be that callous about it, you want to go down that road, is he worth it? To begin with, is any of this worth it? How many times do you need to go through something like this? Look, I understand people bringing up the Daniel Murphy thing. First of all, we've learned, the Cubs have even brought it up, their job is to win baseball games. It's not to be political warriors. It's to win baseball games. So if you want to be callous about it, why are you bringing in distractions? Because guess what? This is now a distraction for these players. The Daniel Murphy thing was a distraction for these players. If it wasn't for the fact that he came out blazing, can you imagine the shitstorm you would have got back for? I actually had this conversation on one of my group chats, that the only reason Addison Russell might survive this is because there's no video of it. And somewhat that's true. Because look at Ray Rice. Ray Rice had no road of redemption to come back. But Greg Hardy is in the UFC right now. And that's what it comes down to. You need, in what other criminal cases do we deny the victim? That we say that the victim is lying? Almost half the time we say it. If somebody says somebody broke into my house, you don't say you're lying. If somebody said that this person hit my car, you don't say you're lying. But when we bring up sexual assault, domestic violence, especially with the prominent figure, I don't know, man. It's a little suspect, huh? It's a little suspect the time that she did it. Does she need money now? Get out of here with that. What are we doing here? I don't understand it. And now it almost falls into a place where they deserve it. They deserve it. And again, I'm a Cub fan, but it's like, what are you supposed to do here? You knew this thing was something that was lingering. And just because baseball was keeping it quiet, just because Melissa wasn't talking, you think you might squeak by? And I think for sure he is gone after this offseason. I think there is no doubt about it that he is out of here. And I really want to know what makes people so uncomfortable about talking about this. What is it? Fandom can't be that important to you. You really can't sit here and think that being a Cub fan and the Cubs winning a World Series is more important than this problem. And it's a problem around sports. We saw it in Ohio State. We see it in the NFL. We see it in Major League Baseball, we see it in freaking soccer, everywhere, in CEO companies. We always deny the victim. And it's crazy. It's not right. And it's sad. I don't know what else they're going to do. I think if you listen to them, I think they're ready to move on. And he might end up being one of the greatest shortstops ever. Who knows? But how much of this is a detriment to him? How much can a man hold in his soul before it starts taking precedence over everything else? I don't know, guys. But I just wanted to get out here and just say, we're always going to give the benefit of the doubt to the victim. We are. We're not. Look, here's the thing. I'm not going to deem Addison Russell the biggest piece of trash in the world. He might be. It might. There's a 1% chance this all might come back and blow up all us quote-unquote social justice warriors in the face, right? But I'm a betting man. You guys hear it here on Sports from the Couch all the time. What do the odds say? When there's smoke, there's fire. What do the trends say? Go with them. If I'm putting money on it, there's nothing that tells me I shouldn't believe her. So we'll see. Thank you guys for joining us on this breaking news from Sports from the Couch. Addison Russell, starting shortstop for the Chicago Cubs, has been played on administrative leave by Major League Baseball and will not be in the Chicago White Sox Chicago Cubs series and his final playoff push after his ex-wife Melissa Russell posts some disturbing accounts of their marriage. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you on the next Sports from the Couch here on the Mercado Airwaves Network. What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
it's another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.